Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, our team will present to you about kind of tourism. There are 5 kinds of tourism that we will explain today. The first one is adventure tourism, and then educational tourism. The third one is ecotourism. The fourth is cultural tourism, and the last one is gap year tourism. Before we start, let me introduce our team. The first speaker is Muhammad Dimas Fadila. The second speaker is Laura. The third speaker is Salma. The fourth speaker is David Riarohma. The fifth speaker is Azahra Aulia. And then the last speaker is me. Okay, we can start now. And Muhammad Dimas Fadila, the time is yours.
Yeah. In the first ecotourism is Raja Ampat. Did you know that currently Raja Ampat is ranked second for world snorkeling tourist destinations and is center of Koflau Islands, Misol, South and West Waigeo, and Ayau Islands. Raja Ampat is the name of a district in West Papua Province. Its position is in the Bird-Head Papua Islands, consists of 1,846 islands with an area of 4.5 million hectares. In 2015, as many as 15,000 foreign tourists and 16 domestic tourists visit Raja Ampat. And the second is the Ijen Plateau, or better known as the Ijen Crater. Is highly recommended to visit, especially for friends and mountain climbers. The Planta is a very large active crater with an area of 134 square kilometers. In third, ecotourism is Waikambas. Waikambas National Park is famous as a place for the conservation of Sumatran elephants, which are native animals to the island of Sumatra. This area consists of swampy water forests with expanses of glenlands, surf and coastal forests. The total area reaches 125,000 hectares. Every day, Waikambas National Park is open to the public for 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. In the fourth, ecosystem tourism is National Park Bunaken. It's a national park that was designed by the Minister of Forestry in 1991 as a tourism attraction, has a location that is representative of Indonesian tropical aquatic ecosystems, consists of mangrove forest ecosystems, seagrass beds to coral reefs, and terrestrial or coastal ecosystem. And the last ecotourism is Mount Langren is an essence volcano in the form of a giant boulder. Besides being able to watch the stunning sunset and sunrise and the sparkling Jogja at night. Watching the sunrise from the top of the mountain is a luxury that not everyone can enjoy. Extreme routes, unpredictable weather, strenuous journeys, and the long distance that must be covered on foot um, are the main obstacles for some people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dimas, for your presentation. And we can move to the second speaker, to Laura. Laura, the time is yours.
Thank you, Tiara. The first one is Museum Konferensi Asia Afrika in Bandung, a place where the history of ASEAN Africa was raised, and the Asia-African partnership was enforced for the sake of the better future. Based in Bandung, it has the historical values of the ASEAN-African Conference. It was inaugurated by President of the Republic of Indonesia, Soeharto. The next one is Kasongan Village Tourism in Yogyakarta. This village initially is proud producer of earthenware and now has evolved into a lovely tourism village. Kasongan welcomes everyone who wants to learn how to make potteries. There are several packages for children to learn about pottery. They will go to a workshop learning how to transform a lump of clay into a glass, mug, or plate. For those who are interested only to buy the potteries, Kasongan has so many great products. The next one is the Bagong Adventure in Malang. The Bagong Adventure Body Museum is an educational tour that displays an anatomy of the human body standing on an area of 1 hectare. The museum is in the form of a real life of a human body with the character of Bagong, which consists of 6 floors. Next is Sangiran Archaeological Museum. At the Sangiran Museum and site, complete information can be obtained about the pattern of early human life in Java, which contribute of the development of science which such anthropology, archaeology, geology at the site of this Sangiran. For the first time, fossil of the low jaw of Homo erectus were found by a German archaeologist. The Aceh Tsunami Museum in Aceh, museum designed as a symbolic reminder of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami disaster. The Aceh Tsunami Museum was founded in 2009, 5 years after the tragedy ended. This museum also serves a monument and educational center that tells about tragedy of 2004. This museum has record of the tsunami disaster and its aftermath.
Okay, thank you, Laura, for your presentation. And we can move to the third speaker is Salma. Salma, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Tiara. Now I will explain you about adventure tourism in Indonesia. Number 1, raft in Palayangan River in Bandung. If you want to find exciting tours while enjoying the water, you can try rafting on the Palayangan River. The river is located at an altitude of 1,200 mdpl, bringing your rafting with picturesque scenery and super cool air. From the city of Bandung, it is located about 45 kilometers away. In addition to rafting, you can also enjoy the panorama of pine forest, tea plantation, the vegetable fields. Number 2, ride in a gondola at Timang Beach in Yogyakarta. Timang Beach is a rather long 3-hour drive from Jogja City, but for those seeking an alternative thrill-seeking ride, the journey will be more than worth it. As the beach is only just beginning to gain popularity with tourists, there is yet to be an official entrance fee, and you will be asked by the local to donate a small fee while traveling along the path to the beach. There is a parking area where your driver will drop you off, and you will be advised to hop onto motorbike taxis. The motorbike taxis will then take you through the final 3 kilometers along the route to the beach. The cost for the motorbike taxi is 50,000 rupiah per person. Number 3, Sea Breacher in Bali. Sea breacher is one of the activities that you should add to your bucket list. This exciting water activity has gained much popularity in Bali and still rare to find in Asia, and is highly recommended for everyone who wants to get high on life. The sea breacher makes it possible for you to glide through the Bali Ocean. Riding the sea breacher is pretty complicated, and it is advised that only the appointed individuals fill the rig. All you need to do is sit back in the cockpit at the semi-sober table and watch the sky disappear through the F-16 fighter jet red flash as the sea breacher descends into a dive underwater for about 5 seconds and then launch entirely out of the water, ejected into the air just like a shark. You can choose what you want your sea breacher to do for you, and the pilot delivers it like a Hollywood action flick to create an exclusive experience personally designed to suit your adventure level. You can roll on a 19-degree angle, do type donut turns, dive 5 feet, or even 18 feet underwater with a top speed of 18 kilometers per hour on water. This ride is guaranteed to make your heart skip a beat. Number 4. Savor the mesmerizing Segara Anak in Lombok. Segara Anak is a crater lake in the caldera that formed during the explosive volcanic eruption of Mount Samalas in 1257. The caldera is next to Mount Rinjani on Lombok Island, Indonesia. Segara Anak means child of the sea, and rivers to the blue lakes resemble to the sea. Tracked to the gorgeous crescent-shaped crater lake, Segara Anak nestled in the magnificent Mount Rinjani. The overwhelmed by the calmness of the lake's blue color that makes it resemble a sea. Catch fish, learn about the spiritual importance of the lake, and admire the dreamy sunset view. And the last one, diving in Lembeh, North Sulawesi, Bitung. Known as the world's capital for much diving, Lembeh Strait in North Sulawesi offers second to none macro biodiversity. The number of species that you can cross off your reader list within a week of diving Lembeh is staggering, to say the least. Lembeh also offers excellent diving infrastructure along with its reputation as an underwater macro photography hotspot. Most dive resorts are photographer-friendly and have exceptionally skilled local dive guides to help you find the tiniest, rare critters that are almost impossible to see with the naked eye. Located only a 2-hour drive away from Manado Airport, Lembeh is easy to combine with other driving hotspots in Sulawesi, such as Bunaken, and can even be considered as an extension option after or before a trip to Raja Ampat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Salma, for your presentation. The fourth speaker is Devi Triarohmah. Devi, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Tiara. Next to cultural tourism. According to the United Nations World Tourism Organizations, cultural tourism is movements of persons for essentially cultural motivations such as study tours, performing arts and cultural tours, travel to festivals and other cultural events, visit to sites and monuments, travel to study nature, folklore or art, and pilgrimages. Cultural tourism can also be an intentional part of the tourism experience, whereby cultural immersion, like their language, customs, and cuisine, is an inevitable part of a person's holiday. There are several tourist destinations that fall into this type of tourism. The first is Saung Angklung Ujo, Bandung, West Java. You should choose this destination because Saung Angklung Ujo is one place that offers some interesting cultural experience for travelers seeking to learn more about the Sundanese culture in Indonesia. You can participate in the many music and craft activities here. Start from knowing how the way of making angklung from its basic material, which is bamboo. Seeing how Sundanese people play the instrument, join educational classes, watch cultural performance, and also purchase some bamboo souvenirs to take home. The second one is Rau Festival in Tenggarong, East Kalimantan. Rau comes from the Kutai language, namely Eroh, which means crowded or an atmosphere of joy. This festival is one of the oldest and the most interesting festivals in Indonesia. The Arau Festival has been going on since the 13th century. This cultural festival continues to transform into a festival of harmonious collaboration between traditional that are still maintained and a dynamic contemporary atmosphere. Therefore, this festival has characteristic and strong attraction for domestic and foreign tourists. In addition to watching the traditional arts and cultural of the Kutai Kartanegara place, tourists can see and even participate in sport attraction and various interesting traditional competition. Next, Taman Sari Water Castle in Yogyakarta. Built in the mid-18th century, Taman Sari Water Castle in central Yogyakarta was a resting area, workshop, a meditation area, defense area, and a hiding place. The royal grounds consist of 4 distinct areas: a large artificial lake with island and pavilions located in the west, a bathing complex in the center, a complex of pavilions and pools in the south, and a smaller lake in the east. Now only the central bathing complex is well preserved, while the other area have been largely occupied by a settlement. One of the most photographed structure in the complex is the Gumuling Well, a circular building with a central staircase previously used as a secret mosque. Next, Londa Burial Caves in Rantapau, South Sulawesi. The haunting atmosphere of Londa Burial Caves introduces you to the post-mortem traditions of Indonesia. Greeting you at the entrance of the cave is the balcony of Tau Tau, traditional effigies of the deceased made out of wood or bamboo. You will need to take a guide with you who leads the way with an oil lamp while explaining the tradition and history of the tomb. Worn out possession and gift carrying specific meaning to the deceased lay around piles of bones and coffins. Be respectful of sacred grounds and refrain from touching any of the remains. And the last one is Desa Adat Ratenggaro in Sumba, East Nusa Tenggara. This ancient settlement on the seaside preserves human history from the megalithic period. There are 304 megalithic stone tombs in Ratenggaro traditional village, which date back thousands of years. In addition to admiring treasures from the ancient Stone Age, this Indonesian cultural tourism sites offers horseback riding and the opportunity to rent traditional clothing. You can also see the Umaklada traditional house with a ceiling that soars up to 15 meters. Thank you, that's all from me.
Okay, thank you, Devi, for your presentation. The next one is Azahra. To Azahra, the time is yours.
The last one is gap year tourism. The example of gap year tourism is Samboja. Samboja Lestari is an area of restored tropical rainforest near the city of Balikpapan in East Kalimantan, Indonesia, Borneo. Established by the Borneo Orangutan Survival Foundation, or we call it BOS. The 2,000 hectare sanctuary here was created with the aim of providing a safe haven for rehabilitated orangutan and sunbear, whilst also at the same time providing a source of income for local people. Since 2001, the surrounding area has been planted with more than 1 million trees covering more than 100 different species. With the growth of the forest density and the diversity, and 9 primate species have been recorded. Samboja Lestari Orangutan Sanctuary is an interesting voluntary activity for gap year tourists to participate in. Many activities are rewarding and providing opportunities to meet new people. Therefore, this voluntary activity can be used as an option for gap year tourists visiting Indonesia. Second one is Miss Lim Curse Pastry and Bakery. Miss Lim is cake course forms and help create reliable and professional human research in the culinary field in the culinary field. The official name of the course is the Education and Skills Institute, or we call LPK. Miss Lim's course was formed in 2007 by Miss Cendawati, or Mrs. Lim is daughter-in-law, as a teacher and manager of the Miss Lim. During the COVID-19 pandemic, this course is still open for training. However, the course they hold are not face-to-face, but through the Zoom application. So it remains safe for participants while attending the course. Like a course to make various donuts such as frozen donuts, crispy donut, and donuts with the various topping. This course can be used as a place to take advantage of time and increase knowledge while waiting for lectures. Many things can be taken when we participate in these activities. Kampung Inggris Pare. Kampung Inggris is an area consisting of various English language course institutions in the city of Pare. In this place, tourists usually learn English through existing institutions. Usually, the tourists stay for 2 weeks or 3 months in the dormitories or residence that have been provided. Not only learn English in this place, tourists can also visit other tourism attractions that are not far from the Kampung Inggris. Therefore, gap year tourists can make Kampung Inggris as a place for them to travel while increasing their knowledge. Next is Tiara. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Azahra for your presentation, and the last one is me to presentation the next in gap year tourism. The fourth example for gap year tourism is Mountain Bromo. Located some 4 hours drive from Surabaya, the capital of East Java, Mount Bromo is a part of the Bromo Tengger Semeru National Park that covers a massive area of 800 square kilometers. While it may be small when measured against other volcanoes in Indonesia, the magnificent Bromo Mountain will not disappoint with its spectacular views and dramatic landscapes. From a vantage point on Mount Pananjakan, 2 hours from Malang, visitors from around the world come to see the sunrise over Mountain Bromo. From this spot, the vista is magnificent. All you will hear is the click of cameras as visitors snap their cameras, hoping to capture the incredible scene of Mountain Bromo in the foreground, with Mountain Semeru smoking in the distance and the sun shining brightly, quickly rising in the sky. Mount Bromo can be used as an alternative for gap year tourists because they can spend time with their friends while enjoying the beautiful scenery, riding horses, and traveling around the mountain using a jeep. The trip will be beautiful memory for tourists. And the last one is Pondok Pesantren Al Khairat Malang. In this pesantren, there are a program that called Pesantren Kilat. Pesantren Kilat or Sanlat is a short duration religious learning program which is generally divided into 2 categories, namely Pondok Ramadan and Pesantren Kilat non-Ramadan. This program is suitable for non-santri, students or workers who want to learn basic religious knowledge in a short time during holidays or leave. Flash students, or we can call Santri Kilat, whose religious insight is still zero, will be guided specifically for basic religious knowledge, such as prayer guidance, ablution, reading the Quran. In addition to participating in other programs, meanwhile, students who already have the basis of religious knowledge will be guided based on their previous abilities. Thank you everyone. That's all from us. Thank you for your attention and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.